All right, so you're starting a new diet, you're going to the gym, you're eating healthier, so you're trying to shop in the perimeter of the grocery store and not shopping so much down the aisles, where all the processed foods are. You're not going out to eat to fast food places, you're actually making your meals, you're taking them to work with you. You're trying to be like pretty active, right? So you're making these nice changes to your diet. That's what you started doing, which is great. Now, here's usually what happens during the first month to 2 months dieting. Usually, the first month, it's pretty fast. Uh, Someone will come to me and they'll be like, "Hey, like we started this diet, we started this exercise program with me, usually not with me, but with some other coach or someone." And um, they start them off pretty much as like an intermediate person instead of like a beginner, and they make drastic changes, right, to their diet. Diet's the number one thing. So it seems to be like if you work with a trainer or you know whoever, they're going to typically do like a 3 day a week, maybe 4 day a week workout program, depending on like how many times you can come to the gym, got kids, got a busy schedule, got to be there, be here. So usually working out, they can kind of do well with, right? Good programs, push pull legs programs. However, when it comes to nutrition, you know, this is where people come to me about a month into whatever they just started their new lifestyle, and they say, I, "I'm tired all the time. Like I have no energy, brain fog. Um, yeah, I mean, I've lost some weight, but then all of a sudden I stopped losing weight. And this is about, 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, and I'm killing myself at the gym. I'm just going so hard. Um, what can I take to help with fat loss? Or actually they say weight loss, right? But like, yeah, like what supplement can I take? Like what pill can I take? Um, like the problem is it's probably your diet. Now, what um, what I recommend to be the number one thing to take a step back and kind of assess your intake of is sodium. So sodium you will drop if you have a diet change. So if you go from eating out, let's say, once a day to a fast food place, which isn't uncommon for the average American, once to twice a day, once in the morning, and getting a coffee and some other like donut or bagel or whatever else you're getting from there. And then maybe a second time would either be after picking the kids up from school because you're going to like practice or something, or after the practice you're going before going back home because you don't have time to make dinner because you didn't make dinner, because you didn't meal prep. So, um, so your sodium is already being cut out from that fast food, and you're making the conscious decision um, to not eat. Again, I use potato chips all the time because they're freaking everywhere, right? So you're not eating potato chips, or you're not eating the specific like um, like pizza for lunch whenever your coworkers all chip in, or whatever you guys eat, right? So you're trying to make a more conscious decision. So you go when you're home and you're meal prepping for your lunches, you typically have something like vegetables and then potato or rice, some noodles. Uh, then you have like your meat, and what's forgotten in there. I mean, how often do you really brine your water, right? And brining water for like, let's say noodles or potatoes, like that doesn't always carry back over to the finished product. So the brine, all the salt water is there in the water. So how often do you go back over and just crank out some Celtic sea salt or pink Himalayan sea salt over your foods before serving it? How often do you do that? Like, go back and think about it. Or do you just rely upon whatever sauce that you're dipping in there, putting in there? Like sometimes if it's a fatty, like a fat-based sauce, you're not, um, getting that extra sodium, because a lot of them are going to be lower sodium due to like the how it mixes, right? So sometimes they're going to have low sodium. So about to sneeze. So sodium is going to be the first thing that drops. So you're probably taking about 11 grams of sodium a day, according to the DASH like research. So if you're familiar with that, that's going to be the dietary approaches to stop hypertension. And usually it's going to be between like 8 to 11, 6 to 8, and then 3 grams. Those are kind of like how many grams of sodium that we look at with these hypertensive groups. So the average American, they typically do eat around like 9, 10, 11 grams of sodium. They've even done this study with, I'll just show my screen. It's on Google Scholar, but they've even done the study analyzing some of the people in the United Kingdom, and they've actually tested the urine output, and they were showing that these individuals that are hypertensive, because this is a paper on hypertension and how far should salt intake be reduced, and they claim that it should be reduced to 3 grams a day, which our American Dietetics Association, American Heart Association, they say 2.5 grams, which it's 2,500 milligrams. Okay, so 3 grams, 3,000 milligrams. But I mean, the problem is these are going to be hypertensive persons, right? They're going to already be people who are deemed to be at risk for heart attack. They're going to be typically overweight individuals. They're probably going to be type 2 diabetic, pre-diabetic, probably type 2 diabetic, not really exercising. They're just average Americans, and they rely upon some sort of angiotensin drug from the doctor, right? So, or blood pressure medication. So usually not the greatest information to give to someone who's dieting, who's actually making a change in their lifestyle. So, because the last thing you want to do is like change your entire diet and then go ahead and take your blood pressure medication, and it's going to drop your blood pressure even more. You're going to go orthostatic, right? Or go vasovagal and faint, right? So it's interesting that you would make these changes and then not add the sodium, which is totally understandable. Salt should be added to all of your meals if you're making a diet change. And if you don't, you're going to end up like the majority of dieters who fail at dieting because they lack the energy, and they blame the food choices of the diet. It's because they're lacking electrolytes. So salt, again, you got to add it to all of your meals. I recommend, really you can do any salt if you want. Morton sea salt has iodine in it, so it keeps your thyroid healthy if you don't have any thyroid issues or glanders. I recommend the Irish Celtic salt, sea salt. I love it. I think it tastes great. It's not like super salty, because pink Himalayan sea salt, like, it goes a long way. And the bold claims that it has like all these minerals in it. I mean, you're talking like you're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies minerals, and it's not going to make the biggest impact. Like, you eating 2 ounce or 1 ounce of red meat is going to have way more minerals than sprinkling that pink Himalayan sea salt on there. Sorry, man, but I just like the sea salt. Again, the big crystals you can put on there, it just makes the food taste a lot better, palatability wise, but then you also get a good hydration and electrolyte balance from the sodium, and so now you're going to actually have energy for your new diet. Alongside with that, I would usually take, this is just kind of a segue off this for those who are starting a new diet. I would definitely recommend 1,000 milligram vitamin C. I recommend 100 milligram magnesium glycinate capsule. And I would also recommend 1 B complex, usually a methylated coenzyme B complex. Just take 1 of them. If it says 2, just take 1. I would take that with each meal. The reason why is because you're making a dietary change. These plus the salt on top of your food. So these additives are going to help with the electrolyte balance, sodium balance, and also the digestion of the food, because you're introducing new foods to your gut microbiota, and it's got to make some adjustments. And so if your gut microbiota is trying to catch up with all this change, you're going to feel lethargic as well. So we have these little guys in our intestinal tract, and they're called lumen, not to be mistaken with like the diet way to hack your metabolism, this little guy right here, that's also called lumen. And yeah, pretty interesting. That's funny, huh? How they play on words with something that kind of runs your metabolism and dictates really like what you eat and how you feel after eating. So the lumen are these little holes inside, the little tubes inside your intestinal walls, and it helps with pulling nutrition or like gut, like the gut microbiota to where it needs to go for proliferation within neuro uses. And that can go back up to the brain, and that can help with like reducing any type of like food cravings that you may have. So again, salt is going to be my number one thing to get you through the day, to get you adherence to your diet. That's going to be the one way to do it. If you see my other video, the easiest way or the best way to lose weight, or just the best way to diet, it's going to be, again, the less ingredients on a food label. So stick to those foods, right? And add the sodium to it. Those food labels, they don't have salt on there, huh? So you got to add it. So again, add that salt. I would just recommend something with a grinder, and then I would probably just start off with like 3 grinds of salt on each meal. And then if you drink coffee, do like 2 grinds of salt in the coffee. And then same thing, like if you do protein shake, put 2 grinds of salt, but like keep track of it, so you can do 2 on each thing or 3 on each thing, whatever helps you remember. I like to do 3, me personally, 3 grinds in a liquid and 5 grinds on solids. So I have a way of measurement without measuring. Or you can go this route. You can take a little container, a little to-go plastic cup, glass cup, whatever you want, put it on a food scale, and then measure out, let's say 5 grams of sodium, or let's say 6 grams of sodium, 5 grams of sodium. Okay, let's just do 5. You're starting a new diet, you're working out, you're sweating, you're breathing, you're peeing, you're drinking water that doesn't have electrolytes in it. Put electrolytes in it, flavor that water up. You can buy them wherever, any grocery store, not affiliated with anybody. There's a brand called LMNT. You can try them. Heard they're great. They got 1 gram of sodium. But anyways, grab that container, put it on a food scale. Let's say you want 5 grams of sodium for the entire day added to your food. Pour out and measure 5 grams, and then just sprinkle some salt on your food throughout the day when you're on the go. And then at the end of the day, if you have a little bit left, sprinkle whatever over you're about to eat or drink, and then boom, you just got all of your sodium in the day. Now you're going to say, hey, Andrew, what about the water retention from it? I'm not going to lose weight. I'm not going to lose fat. Well, no, the problem is that water's not fat. So water is water. Water helps you stay hydrated from a cellular level. It helps your joints, it helps your skin. So when you're dieting, you're losing weight, you can at least keep your skin looking healthy and not so drawn in and kind of old. But water keeps the mind fresh, keeps the mind hydrated. Again, everything linked to the gut's going to hit our brain. And water helps with digestion, and it helps with gut motility, helps pooping and getting all those toxins out of our intestinal lining tract and helping that good balance of microbiota. So again, that's what we're wanting to do. It's not going to hurt you. You're going to have water weights sometime. You're going to have to. That's just the deal of what's called hormones. And there's always water weight there. But you're going to maybe gain 1 pound of water weight, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds by the end of the night. But then you wake back up the next morning. Guess what? You're down like 6 pounds from whenever you weighed in at night. So water's water weight. You sweat it out all the time, and you need it. You don't want to lose water weight and think that that's fat loss. Like, you want to lose fat. Yeah. So this is a great way to not see that scale stall at that 1 month mark. Leaving it there. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and let me know anything else you want to know. Later.